yeah, for body mesh, I would basically create a new folder and organize my high res into one folder. So I'll stick all that stuff in there. Yeah, all that's good. I think that's about. Oh yeah, and there's a scarf too. Yeah, in this case, like I'm not done the scarf, so I'm not going to kind of consider it part of this yet. And this is an old sort of shirt design. So I'm going to take this, and I think I'm going to duplicate. Where is it? Duplicate. So now I've got a copy of the high res body. So in the duplicate, yeah, I'm basically going to slice off. So I don't really need, you know, I know the legs are sticking through the back there, so I'm going to go in and hide off the stuff I don't need. Go to delete hidden, and then I'm literally just going to start to merge this. So delete hidden on that part. Okay, so I'm just going to start merging down. Merge down. And again, I think for me this is the extent of my character's costume right now. I haven't painted or anything else, but so I'll go to solo as well, just so I can focus in on this. So I've basically dynamesh this together. Once you dynamesh something like this together, right, it makes it one solid shell. So once that's in a sort of solid shell. Now, one thing you may notice too, sometimes this happens, is that you might lose your polygroups. So if you want to maybe avoid losing, in this case I don't really care too much, the polygroups aren't great, but if you have this paint icon enabled, it's preserving the poly paint, but it's also going to potentially, when you dynamesh, it'll destroy the polygroups. But if you turn that off, it'll preserve or keep your polygroups. So sometimes this can be useful to help you kind of quickly go in and create new polygroups for the character mesh. So I'm going to yeah, isolate this and use a lasso tool so I can get a little bit better angle on the knee there. I think I've got some different groups in the boots, so I'm going to just quickly isolate those. I'll just hit Control W because I mainly just want a section for the ball of the foot to be able to bend. So I'm just going to polygroup that. So it's not going to be as actually as detail oriented as the proxy mesh version we did. I don't need to split the torso into like 3, 4, 5 sections, mainly because I want the torso to remain one solid piece along with the rest of this particular character mesh. So I'm going to just hit, yeah, I think I'll isolate the arms for now. And yeah, I'll just hide this stuff off as well. So hit Control W. Hit Control W for that. I'm going to actually just hide the forearms and arms and the shirt. So I basically want to include the... Oh, did I hide it by accident? I think I did. Yeah, I want to keep that kind of inner section of the sleeve there too. Yeah, let's see if I can Control W that. I'm just going to hide this bit off. There we go. Now, yeah, right now I'm not crazy about the polygroup that's in the shoulder, so I'm going to just change that quickly. By the way, if you hold hit W, E, or R and control tap on a group, it's going to quickly mask it. So then you can actually alter the masking or polygrouping by control clicking and dragging, which will basically be like a mask selection. We can convert this into a refined or modified polygroup. So I just want to kind of, I want usually my character, if they're usually I do this in A pose, so the arms are kind of 45 degrees out. So I'm going to hit Control W, so that gives me a new group there. Then I can Control W this and make a new group for that. So the key part is making sure you get polygroups in at your bend angle, so wherever the shoulders are, the elbows are, we need to make sure we have polygroups there for bending. That's a key thing. Same thing with the sort of hip region, so I will often kind of come up, there we go. Oops. So I'm going to use the mask lasso. So I tend to like to have a high arching polygroup for that. I do this with masking instead so I don't lose everything here. So Control W. Okay, so that's it. It's a little bit simpler, I think, than your other groupings. Like I said, for the hand mesh, I usually have my own hand mesh that I slide in after. But in this case, I'll just go to Geometry and Zremesh. So if I know my target's 10, 20,000, then I'll basically say keep groups and turn this up to close to 20,000, I guess in this case will be fine. Sometimes this is an issue, you can get these stray groups, so sometimes I'll go to polygroups and you can do this thing called merge stray groups. I may not always get those issues, but again, I'm going to just try to isolate those polygroups. So I'm going to just merge some of those little groups by hiding the other groups. I should be able to just Control W, and that'll help merge that stuff together. You can also try to smooth out these areas too. Sometimes these little fine areas can be a bit problematic for remeshing. So Zremesh again. So I'll try one more time to get the resolution down. So sometimes I will have to kind of soften up or adjust the some of the shapes and simplify them, and I can get them back through projection. So I'm going to just smooth out a bit and remesh again. And so it'll often kind of clean up that some of those problematic poly regions. Now, like I said, if you do have your own hands, you can hide them, delete them, and then I would just merge in my other hand mesh. As you can see, Zremeshing can be very tough on hands. But this is okay overall. And the great thing is, you know, when you make your other tools visible, so if I get it a solo for a second here, I still have the other clothing, the other mesh that's there. So whatever you make visible, you can then do a project, right? Project all. And we kind of regain those shapes. So sometimes it requires a bit of smoothing, a bit of finessing, but sometimes tweak the projection distance as well. Divide a few times. Project, and we can start to get that detail back. So we gain the advantages of having a cleaner, newer mesh. And we also gain some other advantages in that we, you know, have a cleaner base to work from. I think this, by the way, is grabbing from the flesh part here, so I'd want to make sure, yeah, any copy of the head is hidden, so I'll hide that version of the head so we don't get any strange results that way. And yes, if you have, you know, sometimes there's little gaps here. Sometimes I'll use the move brush to nudge it a little bit closer so the two forms are overlapping a little better, and when you do a project all again, it should snap up a lot closer to those results. So at least this way, you know, we've got a clean base to work from and animate from.